my cup, wrap around, bundle me up, thinking about old man Windsor. Another year has flown by, out with the holiday dresses and ties, gussing up on this.
Well, wouldn't that be right, you know? Soon, just when I don't need my solar charger anymore, you know, the sun comes out and you can actually feel it's quite warm. But these blue skies here, well, I mean, it's going to be really cold tonight. So, yeah, I've got a lot of preparing so I don't freeze again like I've done for the last few nights before I stopped over. I got some news from my friends, my Bergen friends, and from that side of the world, and the following weekend after I left that side of the hike, they went climbing, and they were forced down halfway up the mountains because of the terrible weather. So my decision to leave well, seems to have justified itself even more now. It would have been useless trying to exist out there. Well, I bought my supplies, and now I spoke to a lady at the Tourism Information Bureau over there, and I'm all excited again because I found out that there's an alternative route to Norsund, and it involves going back up in the mountains. So my last couple of days here are going to be interesting. It started getting really boring just walking down the hills here on the road. So yeah, back in the mountains, and the weather's going to keep nice and cold like this, so you know, a little bit of snow, but nothing too crazy, so I won't be getting too wet. So all should be good. I'll be cutting it a bit fine getting to the airport, but hopefully everything will work out fine. It is the second to last morning of this amazing adventure, and I'm feeling great. You know, I've got a belly full of food, warm food that wasn't rice, and even though it's minus 3 degrees Celsius, I think I've cracked it. I think I now I had the best night's sleep that I've had this whole trip, and I think it would have been alright even if it was colder. And I put it down to a lot of factors. One of them being now that there's a layer of snow in between, you know, like there's underneath there's moss and all sorts of twigs and things, and so what you've got is the snow's creating a insulating layer underneath, which is very important. And speaking of layers, under this layer of white here, there is actually a 3x4 metre €7 tarpaulin, which I can't believe a couple of weeks ago I almost burned because I was ready to leave Norway and I didn't want to carry the extra burden with me, and the tarpaulin was creating so many troubles. Then it wasn't that cold. The problem was the moisture. Cold for me on this trip is not a problem. It actually is an advantage. Now the snow is just falling on me and falling off, and it's creating that insulating layer, and the insulating, I think it also creates an insulating layer on the tent. And so, you know, and there's a few other things that I've tweaked and learnt that I'll take with me when I get back, is the fact that I've made the tent a lot higher. Like I'm setting it up much higher, so any moisture will run more readily down the sides, and there's much more headroom, which is very important to manoeuvre, especially because of my improvised sleeping bag. So as we get in here, the other things that are very important in cold temperatures, well, I've got my self-inflatable mat, that's very important, but underneath, so on top of the tundra and the moss and stuff, here you can see it's a really tedious getting the pine branches and needles, but very necessary to be warm. So I've also learnt that it's totally okay now at these temperatures to totally seal off the front of the tent, because any moisture really it just freezes to the sides and it doesn't fall on you. So in the beginning of the trip it wasn't cold, but it was wet, and that was terrible. And then it got cold and it was freezing, like -3, -5, no snow. It was really, really cold. But now with the snow here, it's made a real difference. And I hope that, well, when I get back, I mean, I can't wait to get back with you know, the whole Trekheads crew, and we hope to enjoy a lot of time in the winter and in the snow this year. Beneath those clouds down there, I believe is Nordsund, which marks the end of my walking journey, I believe. So I've just got tonight and tomorrow night. Tomorrow, basically, I'll be finding out how to get to to Oslo. It's now day 29 of my Norway hike, and this is the last morning. You know, the last fire before I go down to the fjord. At the moment, I'm finding it difficult to string a number of coherent thoughts together, so I'm going to just try to record a few random thoughts as they come to mind, and then try to put it together later. People have labelled some things in the past, what I've done, as extreme, and I've never really looked at it that way. For me, it's just it's a form of just my form of recreation and self-expression, I suppose. And but this particular hike changed all that. For all intents and purposes, as far as I'm concerned, yes, it was extreme. Extreme mainly because of the time of the year that I chose to do it in. And you know, I'd say about 80% of the time was devoted to strategies and ways, and a lot of effort just to keep warm. Truly epic trek. Didn't happen on a whim. It was a product of a number of years of experience and slowly building up to it, and a lot of the things that I couldn't have done without, that helped me get through everything that I've had to face, could be put down to experience that I've gained on just simple weekend camping expeditions with Trekheads. Every time we go out, we have a great time, good company, good physical exercise, and every time you come home and you've learnt something, and you put that in the back of your mind, and with the knowledge that someday you'll be able to apply it to something even larger. And it really hits home that if I were just to randomly just go into the wilderness like this, I wouldn't last a single day without that sort of experience. You didn't see this on the videos, but the toll it takes on gear, equipment and everything to actually cut trails. You're not just walking along roads, you're actually cutting your way through over hundreds of kilometers worth of untrodden ground, and that really does take its toll on everything. And there's nothing easy about what I did, and I didn't expect it to be. I mean, it was all about experimenting and seeing what are sensible limits for me that I can take, that maybe I'll be able to use the knowledge of in the future for some even more remote expeditions, hopefully. In terms of gear, I'm pretty satisfied with the choice of things that I took with me. That shelter there was not tested very much before I actually took it, and it was the thing I was most concerned about, and it gave me trouble in the rainstorms. But I've come to actually enjoy using it, and the whole ritual of setting it up every time, because every time is different, and I'm actually warming to it. So I'm going to be using that sort of shelter in the future for sure. Other things that failing slowly. I think I've showed before, like these which were brand new boots are now like slowly falling to bits here. What else? Of course, the usual holes and things, and just general wearing out. These new gloves getting holes in them, and the classic the sleeping bag falling to bits. Yeah, that was I stitched it up, and actually it's worked. It's very hard work to get into it. It takes me about half an hour to slowly wiggle my way into it. But when I do, I think it's actually even more cozy than it used to be. So that's kind of a positive spin on that little drama that happened. And then well, yeah, these pants ripping like that, I've given up trying to patch them up, because they just keep ripping again and again, and I don't know what people think when I walk into town with pants like that, but what the hell, you know. Yeah, otherwise, yeah, things like, basically I really have to work on my backup power supplies for long expeditions. And what else? Yeah, the technology. I think I'm quite inadequate at the moment for communications. I have to work on that aspect, I think, for if I'm going to plan any bigger expeditions. When my gear started failing, that really brought home how important mental attitude really is, and how much of a resource the mind can be. That's the biggest resource you have. I mean, we sometimes we become too reliant on gear and stuff that we take for granted, and the real test comes when those things fail, and how we react to them, and how we make use of the resources around us to help solve problems. Myself, physically, in terms of distance I can do and hiking, and I could just keep doing this. I kind of feel fine, apart from that scare I had with the dizziness and the nausea. I had that once before on a long bike tour, and after it, you know, it lasted a couple of weeks after. I don't know what that's about, but it's not actually now like getting in the way of anything. Apart from the regular bruising and battering that I got, one thing that I am really at the moment having troubles coming to terms with is my hands are they're I don't know whether it's from the cold or whatever, but they're cracking and splitting and getting very painful to use, and they're becoming very sensitive to the heat. I think I've actually burnt my hands, because times I've tried heating them when they've been numb in front of the fire, and that's made them extra sensitive. On a lighter note, with regards to some silly myths, right? For the amount of times that I've been wet and shivering and cold and miserable, for some reason, guess what? I didn't get a cold. Actually, I was getting over a cold at the time. You know, I had a cold when I actually came to Norway, and slowly and progressively, even with all the cold and damp and wet and God knows whatever else, I'm getting better, and I got better. Another thing is, yes, personal hygiene. You know, a lot of people ask me about that. You know, last time I went for 2 months without having a shower on a big bicycle trek. Well, you know what? It all depends on how many people you expect to meet along the way, and who you might offend along the way. But if you can deal with your own smell, what the hell? You know, it has no serious physical effects. Another thing is, this whole trip in Norway, all the water that I've drunk the whole way, I've taken from creeks and rivers and puddles and God knows whatever else. No ill effects. That doesn't mean that water isn't could be a serious problem. I mean, in Norway, that sort of thing is okay, but in other places of the world, you better be sure of your water sources before you take them from nature. Survive for at least 3 weeks. This time counting, I think it's about 28, yeah, about 25 days of supplies I actually survived off with what I carried. It wasn't easy, just eating rice and olives, but I tell you what, the olives were very important. They actually weighed quite a lot, but they are what made the rice possible to eat. And actually I didn't eat as much as I should have been eating in calories, because the food was becoming quite unappetizing, and if I didn't have the olives with me, that would made things even more difficult. Of course you eat anything when you're really hungry, but you're probably not eating enough. With regard to the initial 500 kilometers from Bergen to Oslo that I set, I know from previous experience that distance is no problem for me. I would have been able to achieve it going by roads, maybe staying in guest houses, huts and that sort of thing. But from the beginning I quickly realized that this special country, this special wilderness experience was more important to me than getting the distance done. And I always gave priority to whenever there was a trout lake, or where there was a nice place for a campsite, wherever there was a nice place to spend a bit more time, I would always choose that over getting any amount of distance done. And that is, I believe, enriched my experience so much more. Distance is just a statistic, and what I gained from this was so much more than just that. Well, it's time to start packing now. Ready for the short walk, a few kilometres down to the beautiful fjord area, which from here I should be able to see. I'm very on the edge of the fjord. There's somewhere down below those clouds down there. Yeah, then there'll be a different stage. You'll, I suppose I better have a shower somewhere before the short bus ride to Oslo, where, well, in the beginning of this journey, I started one journey, and in Oslo, if all works to plan, you will see that I'll in fact have finished 2 journeys instead of just the one. Norway comes through once again. I'm now at the Sula Hotel and Resort here in where was it? At Norway, of course. Yes, fabulous hotel. It's the only place that would help me. It's a Sunday today, and I have to be at the airport tomorrow morning. And it turns out the bus transport is so bad in this area that there's no chance of getting a bus to the airport by tomorrow morning. So my only option was hitchhiking. The staff treated me to a shower, and much needed one of that. And one of the staff who was off duty, he just offered, "Oh, I can take you to the airport." I didn't quite understand what's going on, but no, he was genuine. It's a 2-hour drive, and he offered to take me to the airport this evening, which is absolutely fantastic. What a way to finish. One moment of drama, one moment of not knowing whether I'll get there, and next thing you know, Norway comes through again. The people here are so great. The staff of this hotel are fantastic, and I tell you what, I mean, look at it, it's beautiful here. I mean, it's so picturesque around here. It's a shame that it's so overcast today. And if you're ever in Norway, Norway, it's a really out of the way place. The locals hate it because of that, because it's inconvenient for transport. But that's why a lot of people come here, so I would highly recommend it. To end this journey in Oslo was an opportunity to actually finish 2 journeys in one go. And now the excitement is building. In about an hour's time, if all goes well, hopefully all will be revealed and then will be the time when I'm reunited with an old friend, and hopefully conclude a previous journey that I started 2 years ago. Well, I just got the phone call. Could it be true? Is this really going to happen? Here is somebody that we've seen in a previous video. At the, her name is Greta. There at the ticketing office. She lives in Oslo, and she's just brought for me and packaged something that I left in Oslo 2 years ago, and you'll see a preview of it now. Life, you know, as it goes through, and she said she might take it back to me to Riga, but I don't think that's particularly realistic. So anyway, goodbye old friend, and well, for all the troubles, it got me there. And it's so compact. Look at it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Oh, this is amazing.
Yeah, it's
Look.
not pretty.
Look. After 2 long years, my long lost friend has returned. You're home now, matey. Let's go put you back together.
With the holiday dresses and ties, gussing up on display, lit up and tucked away. Goblins, ghosts, carols too, ciders, eggnog, homemade brew, twinkle lights, movie nights, staying with you. Put me something warm in my cup, wrap around, bundle me up, thinking about old man winter. Oh, what on earth did you say? Forget about those born old ways. I'm piecing the best parts together. Turkey, ham, pumpkin pie, sweet tooth, super glue, glitter in the eyes. Seen on TV, goofy gifts, house and crap you never miss. Ring-a-ding-ding at the grocery store, elves on the shelves and holes in the drawer. Loving that old man winter. Oh, put me something warm in a cup, wrap around, bundle me up, thinking about old man winter. That reindeer only has 2 legs, Santa's beard looks a little red. Oh, it's okay, it was supposed to be that way. My puppy didn't eat those cupcakes, those cookies that fell on the floor. Oops, he got you a present by mistake. I feel like a giant marshmallow, my nose stays red, and by the way